The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
This is Vince Russo's The Brand.
AlternaTV.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the all-new AlternaTV. I am your host, Brandon Stransky. We're going to be doing things a bit differently from here on out. Actually have a few segments titled, named, and ready to go for today. Should be a very much different show than I've usually been doing. I'm really looking forward to doing things differently. So let's go ahead and get things started. The first thing I would like to do today is I'm going to look at my thermostat over there. Now I'm going to crank the temperature up to 33 degrees Fahrenheit. It's time to melt some snowflakes. Alright, this week, how this show, segment of the show works is kind of follows under the same bit of the same rules as Castrating the Marks does, where basically anything that I see come through, whether it's a liberal snowflake or a conservative snowflake, does not matter to me. Basically, what qualifies as a snowflake statement is something that shows zero tolerance towards anybody else's opinions or beliefs, or just a complete, triggering meltdown because somebody did something somebody didn't like that doesn't really hurt anybody, but you feel the need to get upset about it and make a big deal about it anyway. So, the first quote I would like to use, actually the only quote I have this week is, mainly I've been trying to stay off social media this week. It's actually been depressing the crap out of me. I see so much crap going on there that makes me absolutely sick to my stomach. So I had to get away from it. It was just disgusting me. It was dragging me down. I've been feeling much better this past few days since I haven't been on. But I did save one quote. This is from a conservative snowflake. I'm sure some of you have heard about how another player has started, or not really started, he's actually been doing this for several years now. People are just now paying attention to it. Marshawn Lynch of the Raiders sat out the national anthem during one of the preseason games this year. Now, regardless of where you stand on this issue, I think that this person's reaction to it, and I'm not going to give his name because he certainly does not deserve any further attention than what he's getting whatsoever, so let's go ahead and get on with it. Here is the, like I said, I personally think that regardless of where you stand on this, again, I think that this is taking it way too far. Quote, "Hopefully, some defensive player in the NFL will take out his knees and end his career. No such thing as a cheap shot for this jackass." So, by that logic, because somebody made a statement that you didn't like. Somebody sat out during the national anthem. So for that, you think that they should have their knees taken out and their career ended? Have their ability to pay their bills, feed their family, and keep a roof over their head taken away because you didn't like the fact that they sat out at a national anthem? You know what? I don't like half the crap, majority of the crap you say and do. And you also happen to be a wrestling manager. I'm not going to say what places. I'm not going to say where we're at or what name you use at or any of the people that you use. But, using that logic, you know what? Here's this. Hopefully, some babyface wrestler you have a spot with drops you on your head and paralyzes you and puts you in a wheelchair for the rest of your life. And ends your career. No such thing as a cheap shot for that jackass. Now, the difference between me and him is I do not wish that upon him at all. Despite the fact that he made that despicable statement, the difference between me and him is I truly do not wish that on him. I'm just said that to try and make a point. That this kind of nonsense, wanting somebody's livelihood taken away over sitting down for the national anthem, is absolutely ridiculous. You should be ashamed of yourself, you pathetic snowflake piece of crap. Sorry, got a little worked up. I apologize. I apologize. Got a little worked up. Tension's a little on end. I apologize, but seriously, that kind of nonsense, that kind of stuff is unacceptable. That does nothing to help the situation that we're in and only makes things worse. Knock that crap off. Okay, wishing violence on somebody just because they said something you didn't like is stupid. Okay, let's move on to Song of the Week. And this week's Song of the Week, I actually, instead of drawing randomly, I actually picked this one out. I'll get to that reason in a minute. This week's song is White Discussion by the band Alive off of their second album, Throwing Copper. This song was actually appeared in the movie Virtuosity, which starred Russell Crowe and Denzel Washington. I think, which is, side note, great movie. If you haven't checked that out, you should. I think it's very underrated. Those two, Crowe and Washington, phenomenal actors that played off each other incredibly well in this movie, I thought. This song hit number 15 on the modern rock charts and was number 12 on the mainstream rock charts. However, the main reason why I selected this song for Song of the Week was because there is a lyric in there that I think is very, very poignant, especially coming off of President Trump's recent Afghan policy. And that lyric is, and the coin flips again and again and again and again as our sanity walks away. Keep flipping, flip a coin, flip a president, nothing changes. Nothing changes. Democrat, Republican, two sides of the same coin. And it's all in the globalist pocket. Anywho, let's see, what do we have next? I was going to do a SummerSlam Predictions, but of course SummerSlam was 2 nights ago, so it doesn't really do anything. Of course, the predictions that I had were, I got a few of them on there. The rest of them they threw completely off. I actually had Joe winning the 4-way. Not because that's what I thought would be the smart thing to do, because I thought that's what they were going to do. But I was glad they didn't, because I think there's much more. I think we got everything that we're going to get out of Joe and Lesnar, unless they can somehow, manage to figure out how to milk more out of it. I doubt that's going to happen. See, I had Mahal winning. They went with that. Yeah, I had Corbin winning. That didn't happen. Rusev didn't have that one either. See, I got Joe wrong. I got Corbin wrong. I got Rusev wrong. I got Cass. No, I got Cass right. I got Wyatt wrong and Bliss wrong. Oh well. Okay, and then I think, today we're going to wrap it up with, it's probably my favorite segment of the show. I call Restoring the Republic. Where basically what that is it's going to be a serialized segment, which basically means is that this segment's not going to be around forever. It does have a shelf life. It does have an end date. What that date is, I'm not sure yet. We'll figure it out when we get there. But how we're running with this is basically we're going on the premise of God has basically come off and said, okay, Brandon, I'm appointing you to fix this country. Anything you say goes. I give you all the power you need to make it happen. Make it happen. Alright, so basically the first thing I would do is I'm going to take a copy of the United States Constitution. I wish I was actually holding one right now. And basically the first thing I would do is go through all the laws that are on the books. Go through all the laws on the books, and basically audit them using the United States Constitution. And I would determine, alright, are these lawful? Do these follow the Constitution? And probably about 90%, and this is federal level, 90% of them, and I'm being generous. This is being incredibly generous. I'm sorry, only 10% would probably stick around, and that's being generous. Only 10% of the laws on the books right now would probably be staying around, and that is a generous number. And what would be achieved by this? Well, considering the fact that a lot of the laws that are on the books are basically victimless crimes, which are crimes which have no victim, they're just crimes to be crimes. What we'd see with that happen is we'd see a reduction of the prison population. We'd see tax dollars not being wasted paying for prisons. We would see people being out and being able to generate revenue to help out with the communities and help provide for their families and basically make things a lot better for people, which of course would end the war on drugs essentially, which would take a ton of innocent people out of the prisons. A ton of innocent people. And also the big thing too, I'm not going to beat around the bush, the fact is the war on drugs, big reason for that is it's an attack on the American people, more specifically people of color. And that would go a huge way of fixing that. Let's see. There would be a lot of bureau eliminations. A lot of them. And, as well as cuts, probably some combinations and consolidations. Like, here's the ones off the top of my head I know would be gone immediately. DEA, ATF, CIA, NSA, gone. Those four I can think of off the top of my head, gone. Federal Department of Education, gone. The fact is, there's no reason why the Federal Department of Education should actually exist. It shouldn't. That's something that's supposed to be handled completely at the state level, because guess what happens when you do that? Instead of having one centralized hub that basically dictates where all 50 states, you now have 50 states competing with each other to see who can come up with the best educational programs, which would in turn start boosting the quality. See what that does? You see what free competition does? And then the big one, this would be a huge, we're going to end it with this. This would be the big change I would make for the first edition of Restoring the Republic. Elimination of the Federal Reserve and the IRS. This is something a lot of people don't know, and you can go and look this up because this is documented, sourced fact. The Federal Reserve is not an entity of the United States government. It is actually a privately owned bank that loans money to our government on interest. In order to pay back that interest, they have to get more money from the same source that prints money out of thin air and backs it on what? Baseless interest. And the IRS is an arm of this private company. It is not a United States government entity. It is actually part of the IRS. So you eliminate those things, we start seeing our national debt going down. We start seeing our deficits go down. We start seeing more money in people's pockets to spur the economy. And then most importantly, we'll start, where was I going with this? I am so sorry. I had it and then I lost it. I am so sorry. Most importantly, we will no longer be beholden to central bankers who want to spend money to make wars, to make more money.
Hello, Brandman. It's Chantal. You call to me every weekend, earlier in the weekend feature, because there's anybody out there who else like Miss Chantal.
Well, I think that about wraps up for this week. I'd like to thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll continually be making improvements, be coming out with new segments as they come to me. Thank you guys for watching. You can check me out at BSWriter67 on Twitter. And also be sure to check out everybody at russosbrand.com. We got a great selection of just so many different shows on there. So much great talent that's there. Besides, of course, Vince and Jeff are, of course, the head runners, because they're the ones, they're the bread and butter of it. They Vince especially. If it wasn't for him, none of us would be doing this. So be sure to check out their stuff. Vince and Jeff especially. Thank you guys so much for letting me do this for you. I will see you guys next week.
This is Vince Russo's The Brand.